The start of a new season can be overwhelming, especially if you've taken a break from the game and are just coming back now. There's a lot of new balance changes, some heroes are different, some are better, some are worse. The meta has shifted, so it's hard to figure out what's good and what's bad, especially if you're not 100% up to date with everything. But don't worry, it's my job to stay on top of all the changes and analyze them, so in this video I'll be going over the best heroes you should play for every role, so that you'll have the most potential to do well and carry your games in the new Season 2 of Marvel Rivals, as well as a few tips about the playstyle and the changes for each hero. These heroes have either received great buffs or have consistently been strong in the meta, so you can safely play any of the heroes I mentioned without worrying about being at a disadvantage. Now, let's get started with the best heroes to play for Season 2. Of course, the first hero we go over has to be Emma Frost. Now, I haven't played her personally because I don't have early access, but I have been keeping a close eye on the early access streams. I've been checking out her gameplay, I've been checking out her abilities, and have already formed an idea about her playstyle and how strong she can be. Based from what I've seen, she has a lot of damage potential with some great combos. Her ultimate is absolutely insane and has the potential to completely turn around the fight and win the game just based off her ultimate. In case you don't know, her ultimate prevents other heroes from using their ultimate. So if you use your ultimate on Emma Frost before an enemy support uses theirs, while you're channeling your ultimate, they won't be able to react with their ultimate. So not only is it a strong ultimate because you basically take control of them and stun them, but you also prevent them from using their ultimates, which obviously is going to be very strong, especially in the fights where normally you'd go ultimate for ultimate. This time you won't even be able to do that. But besides her abilities, she also has a great team up with Magneto and Psylocke. But because of the team up and because she's looking to be very strong, I believe she will be one of the best heroes you can play especially at the start of the season. And if you don't get the chance to play her, she might be very well worth to be banned. She is looking very strong, has a ton of playmaking potential, has a ton of potential to have great impact in the game, negating ultimates, killing people, and helping your teammates with the team ups. So because of that, I would say she's either in the pick or ban territory. Now, moving on, the next one that I think will be very strong is the Hulk. Before I start talking about him, let me quickly go over the changes that he just received in the recent patch. He will be moving faster with an increase in movement speed from 600 to 650. The cooldown of his bubble will be reduced by 2 seconds from 12 all the way to 10. And his jumping ability will be able to charge a little bit faster from 0.7 to 0.5. Now, these changes might not seem like that much to you, but generally people underestimate movement speed and mobility by a lot. With these changes, he will be super fast, he will be super mobile, which is already something because he's one of the most mobile tanks in the game, being able to jump without any cooldown, being able to jump around non-stop, going everywhere he pleases. But now that not only does the jump charge faster, so he'll be able to jump even more, but he'll also be moving faster by running, which means that if he does get the jump on you, you won't be able to escape him. He'll be able to chase you down, pummel you down, and you won't be able to do anything about it. And if you do end up making a little bit of a distance, then he can just keep jumping. But not only that, but mobility by itself can be great for both aggression and survivability. He can push really hard, really fast because he has the mobility to do so, but he can also survive a lot more because he has the ability to disengage whenever he wants. But more than that, he will have his bubble available a lot more. And if you don't know, his bubble, not only does it protect him from damage and other stuff, but if you damage his bubble, he builds up ult charge. So with this change, he will be able to survive more with his bubble and build more ultimate charge with his bubble. So overall, these changes are insane on an already great hero, but I didn't even mention the new team up that he has with Namor. His team up has always been pretty good, and now that he has Namor instead of Doctor Strange, is going to be even better. But we'll talk about that more when we get to the duelists. For now, I would say that Hulk might be going again into that permaban territory like he used to be a few months ago. But if you do get the chance to pick him, here's a little underrated tip about him. Jump way more than you think. Don't spend any more than maybe a couple of seconds on the ground walking or running. Just jump, jump, jump. It will make a huge difference in your games. Now, moving on to the next Vanguard, Magneto. He has always been great. He has always been an amazing solo tank. He has always been amazing as an anchor tank. He did get a minor nerf to his ultimate. It charges a little bit slower now, but he is still great and will still be great. He has a ton of damage, his ultimate is amazing at countering support ultimates or being defensive or preventing enemies from pushing up that much. He has a lot of potential in picking off squishes and backline targets. He has great defensive cooldowns. He can soak up a lot of damage and protect not only himself but his teammates. But more than that, he also gets a team up with Emma Frost, and because it's the start of a new season with Emma Frost being the new hero, you know she will be played pretty much every single game, which means Magneto will have this team up available pretty much every single game. Now, if you don't know what the team up does, it's basically creating a clone of Magneto that mirrors his actions and can be used to confuse enemies and do just a little bit more damage that could help you break the threshold for a kill or block some damage or something extra. So if you see someone on your team pick Emma Frost, Magneto will be very good to accompany her. As for when you play Magneto, a good tip is that you should shoot the backline a lot more than you think on Magneto. He is very good at shooting enemies from the range and putting a lot of pressure on the backline without having the need to be next to them. But moving on to the duelists, the first one that I want to go over is Iron Man. He's been kind of a sleeper in the meta, especially because Hulk hasn't been played that much and the Gamma team up was pretty good for Iron Man, but he always had kind of a big hitbox. He felt clunky, he didn't do a lot. However, he did just get buffed where his hitbox size has been reduced, and whenever he activates his overdrive, he gets 100 bonus HP. This isn't that much, but like I said, one of the biggest issues with Iron Man was his large hitbox, so this buff targets specifically that. However, more than that, because we've just said that Hulk will be very strong, it means that Hulk will be played a lot. So if Hulk is being played a lot, that means Iron Man will be able to make use of the Gamma team up with Hulk. So now that Iron Man is stronger and he will also have the team up a lot more, it means that Iron Man will be strong overall. He is able to pump out a lot of damage with his Gamma beam. He absolutely melts squishes and absolutely melts anyone that it comes in contact with. Generally, you should play him like every other flyer, just stay around a lot of cover, peek in and out of cover, but especially on Iron Man, because he is very fast with his extra fly ability, you can flank a lot more than you think, especially with this shield buff, because you can fly quickly behind the enemies, use your overdrive, completely melt a support or someone squishy in their backline, and then just dip away. I think that might be the new playstyle for Iron Man, but he's not the only one with the Gamma team up, which is why next we're going to be talking about Namor. Now, Namor hasn't received any new changes except that he's now being part of the Gamma team up with Hulk instead of the Frozen team up with Luna Snow. I haven't personally played with the Gamma Squid on the early access, but from what I've seen, it's looking to be incredibly strong. It's basically like a mini Gamma beam from Iron Man, but on a squid. It has insane range, it does a lot of DPS and can absolutely melt targets, especially if it's damage boosted by your trident. But more than that, Namor has always been strong, he hasn't received any nerfs or anything, he is still a very strong pick, especially against dive. And the same as with Iron Man, because Hulk has gotten buffed, he will be played a lot more, which means his team up will be available a lot more. Because Namor has always been a strong pick, and because especially he has this insane new team up, I think Namor will still be one of the best heroes to carry in season 2. However, most people play Namor kind of wrong. He is incredibly strong when you flank a little bit, because you can easily one-shot a squishy in the backline and then just dip out. The same with Iron Man. You can go behind them, quickly plop down your squids, throw your trident at a support, easily kill them instantly and then back off. Moving on to the next duelist, I think Moon Knight will be incredibly good, especially at lower elos, because he just received some great buffs. His projectiles are now a lot faster, and when he shoots out the big moon with his right click, he gets some bonus health up to 100. He can pull himself with the hook faster, and his ultimate has been buffed to last a little bit longer and deal a little bit more damage with more talents. Now, Moon Knight is not my most played hero by far, but one of the biggest issues I had with him was his very slow projectile speed. It was kind of annoying and hard to hit enemies, especially when you didn't have your Ankh. Not even mentioning the fact that sometimes the hits you get with his projectiles wouldn't even register and you would deal no damage. But with these new changes, he'll be able to dish out more damage because his projectiles will be able to land a lot more. You'll be able to be more consistent because you can do more damage even without your Ankh, and you'll also have more survivability because you get bonus HP with your right click, meaning you won't be as easy of a target for divers and flankers, because currently he's kind of a big target. He has a large hitbox, he's fairly slow, he doesn't do the best in 1v1s. However, with these changes, I think he will be way better, especially in lower elos where you can take advantage of his Ankh, where you can take advantage of pumping out damage in clumped up enemies, and where you can take advantage of his ultimate that just got buffed as well. He already had a pretty good ultimate when used correctly, so with this buff to his ultimate, he will be even better. Now, he's not the best at higher elos, but he can definitely still work all the way up. As for the way you use him, I think a lot of people misunderstand his Ankh and his ultimate especially. Most people throw out the Ankh and the ultimate before a fight even happens, where you don't even get to do anything because the enemies are fully capable of reacting to your Ankh and to your ultimate. However, if there's a big fight going on and you throw your Ankh in the middle of all the enemies, I guarantee you will be able to pump out a lot more damage and be able to get a lot more kills because the enemies will be focused on the fight and won't be able to turn around to your Ankh as quickly. And the same goes for your ultimate. Now, before we move on to the strategist, the last duelist I want to go over is Mr. Fantastic. He's been kind of a sleeper in the meta. He hasn't been great, but he hasn't been the worst either. He's also kind of a hybrid hero between a duelist and a semi-tank and off-tank. However, he did receive a few changes this patch, which I think will be amazing for him. He gets more base health, his punches do more damage both in regular form and in the inflated form. He gets a slow on his pull, but the best change I think overall is the fact that when you use your ultimate, you gain the bonus HP that you would get from being inflated, because currently the best way to use your ultimate is to actually inflate first and then use your ultimate, which delayed the use of your ultimate and it made it kind of clunky and annoying to use. However, with this change, it's basically 400 extra HP every time you use your ultimate instantly. No need to worry about being inflated, no need to worry about building up elasticity first before using your ultimate. Now, if you get a good opportunity, you can just use your ultimate instantly and not have to worry about being blown up during your ultimate. You'll actually have that extra survivability straight off the bat with your ultimate. So because of these changes and because of the way he actually plays as a hero, I think he will be very good. He is a very flexible hero. He can be kind of a brawl off tank, but he can also do very well at protecting your teammates from divers, because you don't even need to really aim with him. You can just wiggle your arms around and you can hit those very mobile divers very easily. However, a big mistake I see with some Mr. Fantastic players is that they're not playing aggressive when they're getting inflated. Your inflation is great at putting pressure on the enemies, doing a lot of damage, swinging your big fists around and pushing the enemies away. So one tip for Mr. Fantastic is, when you are about to get inflated, make sure you are close to the enemies and ready to be aggressive with your big punches. Lastly, we have the strategists, and the first one I want to go over is Rocket. He has probably been one of the most complained about strategists in the game so far, except maybe Jeff. He is fairly popular, however, a lot of people dislike him. But with this new patch, the biggest issues that people had with Rocket have been fixed. Normally, people would complain about Rocket that he didn't have enough burst healing, his healing was kinda bad, it was only a little bit over the seconds, which wasn't enough to really make a difference when a lot of enemies are shooting you. However, the first change that Rocket received is that now his healing orbs do instant burst healing whenever they hit an ally. Now, this does mean that Rocket players won't be able to just spam those healing orbs without any care in the world. You will actually have to aim those healing orbs a little bit in order to make sure you actually hit your allies with them for that instant burst healing. But they did also increase the projectile speed a little bit. So now those healing orbs will do a lot of instant healing, but they will also keep doing some healing over time. So straight off the bat, I think Rocket's healing potential has shot through the roof. He did get quite a nasty nerf to his mobility. However, Rocket has always been a very slippery target. He has a very small hitbox, he is pretty fast, he can run on the walls really quickly, he can wall and jetpack dash for an extra big rocket dash. So even though this dash nerf might be bad, I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. Especially because probably one of the biggest complaints people had about Rocket was that his ultimate was not defensive, which made people angry about him because they couldn't survive enemy aggression. However, his ultimate now does healing per second. In order to compensate for this, they did nerf the damage buff from 40% to 25%. But I believe that now this will be one of the strongest support ultimates ultimates in the game. It does healing per second and damage boost. No other ultimate in the game does this except Luna, but she can only do one of them at a time, whereas Rocket does both at the same time. So with these changes, Rocket will be able to do a lot of healing, his ultimate will be amazing, and him being Rocket, he will be still very hard to kill despite the dash nerfs. So with all of this, I think Rocket will probably be the best support to play in Season 2. The next strategist that's still going to be really good is Invisible Woman. Ever since she has been released, she has been very good. She's been consistent, she doesn't have any big weaknesses or any big issues. She can have a lot of impact with her pull ability. She's able to pull enemies out of position to get them killed or put a lot of pressure on them. The biggest playmaking difference with Invisible Woman is how you use that push and pull ability. You can use the push to counter enemy ultimates like the Strange ultimate. You can use the pull to grab people out of position from the high ground or grab them closer to your team so that they're in danger of getting killed. But more importantly, she can pump out a lot of healing and damage if she lines up herself with her tanks and the enemy tanks. So she can build up her ultimate very quickly by doing both healing and damage. She did get a very small nerf this patch, with her shield going from 300 to 250. However, I think this is mostly irrelevant. It shouldn't really affect her absolutely at all. She will still be very strong, very consistent healer in the next season. Now the last strategist that I think will be incredibly good in the next season is Loki. Yes, he did get a nerf. His lamp cooldown has been increased a little bit, however, it's still a very strong cooldown. It's still able to completely counter a lot of ultimates. It can prevent people from being killed instantly, it can still save a lot of people, and it's still a nasty cooldown to deal with. But even if we ignore the lamp cooldown, just Loki by himself is very strong. He's able to pump out a lot of healing, a lot of damage, his ultimate builds insanely fast, and he is very slippery. He has his teleport, he has his invisibility, he has the lamp that he can even use for himself, and he has the versatility of an ultimate where he can choose which ultimate to actually use depending on who's playing. So overall, while he did get a nerf, Loki will still be incredibly good. However, while playing any of these heroes will give you an advantage in the next season, it doesn't really matter who you play if you don't know the fundamentals of the role you're playing. So if you've been having trouble winning games and having an impact, then watch my guides for each specific role to learn how you can carry games and do good on your main role. Thanks for watching, now go get some wins.